So one thing we need to discuss, and something I'm really curious about, is you tied in heavy technology with this Malibu Poke. What was your thought process behind that?
So one is I believe in. I said it earlier that restaurants are counterintuitive. We all sometimes there's this binary question of, do I want my restaurant to be hospitality driven, or do I want my restaurant to be tech driven? And I reject that as
Can't be both, right? Why not?
It absolutely can be
both.
both.
That's what I'm saying.
How do you use tech to give better hospitality?
How do you use tech to give better hospitality?
Well, I'll tell you how we did it in Malibu Poke, right? So number one is I found that most of these self-serve kiosks to me felt like a bad experience. It felt like you just put this in front of me so you didn't have to pay a cashier. So the number one is we drew some lines. We said if a self-serve kiosk experience was not overwhelmingly better than talking to a person, we weren't interested in it. If it was not a better experience, think about that for a second. In that, when is doing your own gas better than getting it done for you? I don't know that it is. Like if going to the ATM better than going to a teller. If we said it's not better, then I wasn't interested in it. So we didn't stop tweaking the system until we overwhelmingly believed it was 100% better than talking to a cashier.
So when did you know you got it to that point? Like what made it so
feedback.
much better?
Customer feedback. Absolute. Sorry, I was restaurant operator. I was watching a customer and got distracted. Sorry about that.
It was funny when I was setting this up. I was like, whenever I set up an interview, I'm always trying to figure out which angle will be less distracting for the owner. Gotcha. And I figured the kitchen and everything was that way, but
my family won't eat meat with me at any of our restaurants because I'm just watching.
No, you're doing
watching.
Great.
So
paint that picture of the end product,
okay.
of what it looked like.
So let me tell you the metrics. Number one, speed. 4 self-serve kiosks reduce the queue time. You can get in our restaurant, get through the line, order your food faster. That's number one way it makes it better. Number 2, the ability to give people a visualization of crazy, weird ingredients. We have some ingredients you've never heard of. As opposed to a cashier having to memorize what they are and to describe them, there's a picture. What is furikake? Oh, it's Japanese rice seasoning, right? What is a rari? Oh, that's a little glutinous rice ball. By showing people pictures, they could wrap their head around what it was. Number 3 is consistency and not making mistakes. If we could make the self-serve kiosk environment so that we had less comps. I said I wanted no red onion. That cashier wasn't listening to me, right? If we could improve hey, this isn't made right, this isn't what I ordered, then we were doing it right. If the system was confusing people and they were screwing up their orders, then it wasn't right.
Yeah.
Last thing is the order history. The ability for people to remember their orders and access them with one click of a button on next visits. Malibu Poke is very much about deep customer loyalty. We're not for everybody, but the people we're for come 3 times a week. You ever heard the old Jerry Garcia? Yeah. Grateful Dead's like licorice. Not everybody likes licorice, but people like licorice really like licorice.
Yeah. So
it's that same thing of we're not for everybody, but man, there's people who love us, really, really love us.
So just the 4 filters you put through to make sure that this technology would be more hospitable. You identified that it would be faster, more visualization. Which would help with the questions that your guests would have, consistency, and then order history. So how fast does it take now?
So now a guest, so we have incredible metrics on this. The average guest places their order in less than 1 minute and 20 seconds. Their food comes out in less than 6 minutes. So so somebody can walk into our restaurant and because of this technology, get a James Beard nominated chef poke bowl in 7.5 minutes.
That's pretty awesome.
That is what we and not feel as though they were sent through some sort of weird faceless conveyor belt.
You said that was the average time for the. What if you have somebody who is a regular who comes 3 times a week who already has their meal designed and they walk up because you have facial recognition, which I'm sure
You can
ties into the
walk in.
consistency in the order history, right?
You can walk in, smile for the camera. It sees you. It'll pull up your orders. Hit click.
How long does that take?
I mean, it can take 30 seconds.
That's awesome.
It is. We're living in the future. It's awesome.
So has this cut down on costs? Because you have less mistakes theoretically.
I think
you're not paying somebody, right?
So no. So one of the things we found is technology is great, but people still want the reassurance of a human. So we pay. So where it saves us money is not that we don't have to have a cashier. It's I can have one, what I call my Poke Pro, ready to give human answers to questions.
Yeah.
Oversee 4 kiosks.
So as a customer, it's a high touch customer service. It's like having that floater, like in the fast casual. You don't need to have that floater there, but you need that person there to touch tables, to ask questions. Is that the same thing, but with the ordering process?
Absolutely. We laugh. There is, you'll see somebody walk in Malibu Poke staring at their phone. And then they'll take their phone down and say, "Oh, wait, what? I'm not ordering my food on a screen." And one time I asked somebody, "Do you mind me asking, ma'am? Like, what were you doing on your phone?" She's like, "I was buying a plane ticket." I was like, "Then I know." And we both laughed. And I mean, I wasn't trying to be a smart aleck, but I was like, we both laughed. And she's like, "Oh yeah." Like it was like the irony of the situation.
Well, I think what you're explaining is something that all first adopters experience, and you're kind of, I mean, you've been using these kiosks now for 2 years. So I mean, 2-3 years ago, that's when these conversations of kiosks are really starting to rev up, right? And you're an early adopter, so you're going to have that resistance. I mean, I think it will pay off in the long run. Do you think, is that kind of has it already started? Have you seen less resistance?
Without a doubt. We number one is it's a really cool differentiation. I will see a customer come in and be apprehensive about the screen on day one. I'll see them a week later come in, bring their friends, and this is that place with those cool screens. This is so fun. Watch how we do it.
So it's a unique selling proposition.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's the other thing is we bought the Ferrari of self-serve kiosks.
What is the Ferrari of self-serve kiosks, in your opinion? We use a company. I don't want to answer that directly because they were the Ferrari 2 or 3 years ago. Okay. I don't know exactly. There may be a new Ferrari. There may be the new Lamborghini out now. I got you.
But for our self-serve kiosks, what we found at the time, we bought the best money could buy, and what I think that, as I said, most of the self-serve kiosks, I feel like they're just trying to, it's like the self-serve line at the grocery store. You're just trying to get me through here faster and make me do the work you were paying somebody to do. When we had this really beautiful interface with beautiful, I mean, we spent thousands of dollars in just food photography for pictures on the kiosk.
Yeah.
Seasonal bowl, new ingredients. I got to do a photo shoot just to put them on the kiosk. It's not just a plug and play. We put a lot of work into those kiosks.
User experience, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're just trying to trim your budget, it'll show. If it's something that is improving the guest experience, and then it's great.
Would you say you're about breaking even then with having these? Okay.
I would say that it frees up. Well, let's put it this way: if I can have one cashier oversee 4 kiosks, I can take that labor dollars and put it to a line cook to make bowls faster to feed the 4 kiosks.
Yeah,
right.
I feel you.
So it's more of a reapportioning of the budget versus just seeing it directly to the bottom line.